Hi, everyone. Welcome to Food Talk with Dani Nierenberg. Today, I'm really excited to talk with Ronni Kahn, the founder and visionary in residence of OzHarvest, which is Australia's leading food rescue organization. Ronni is a hero of mine, a heroine. I adore her. We're so excited because Food Tank will partner with OzHarvest to put on Voices of Australian Farmers, a love story, which takes place on opening night of the Adelaide Fringe Festival on February 20th. Ronni, thank you for joining me.
Oh, it is such a pleasure. Seriously, you are my hero and
Mm.
inspiration. I follow Food Tank. I think that the thinking, the advocacy, and every element of what you do is so powerful that this is a huge honor and a privilege for me, and a
Oh,
privilege to partner with you on the
I,
event that we'll talk about later.
I feel like it's a long time coming. And again, we can talk about that later. But thank you again for everything. I'm wondering, Ronni, if you can share with our listeners sort of what is the vision behind Oz Harvest?
So, Dani, I was in the event industry and creating absolutely wonderful events. And every single event that I created has food at its core because food is about dignity and sharing and community and respect. And I never wanted my guests to think that their host was ungenerous or
Mm,
that their host was not successful. And food was a beautiful way of showing it. So I always had surplus food. And it took me a while to connect between the fact that I was throwing away food when it was actually unconscionable. And so the genesis of Us Harvest was literally a light bulb moment to
hmm
realize that this perfectly good food, because surplus food that was perfectly good should actually feed people rather than go to waste. And I started taking my surplus food from my event business to feed vulnerable people in the charities that they would go to. And it became so fulfilling and so much more rewarding than my paid job that
hmm
for many years I did both until I realized that this handing over food and the significance of surplus food, the connection between the social element of giving away food, plus the environmental impact of not throwing food into landfill, that it led to the birth of OzHarvest and the fact that we now are so much more than just rescuing food. Whilst rescue food is so important, it's all the other elements around valuing food, the food system,
hmm
and education, advocacy, all of the programs that we've added to make Oz Harvest what it is today and why it is such an important and valued organization.
Absolutely. I think, Ronni, in so many ways, you were way ahead of the curve on rescuing surplus food, recognizing food loss and waste is an issue. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Because I think it's important for our audience to know.
Absolutely. So I started doing this 22 years ago. Nobody had done it. And all I was told was it can't be done because
Right.
it's surplus and because it's waste, that notion that it was waste. So we actually, so it was ahead of its time. I was labeled a social entrepreneur. I'd never even heard the word or that connection.
Right.
But what was really important was it just didn't make sense to me. And so we had to have laws changed in Australia because when I
Right.
first did it from my clients, from my suppliers, but then realized that it wasn't just me that had food waste, that there was in Australia, it's 7.6 million tons of food go to waste
Yeah.
every year, and it's costing
Yeah.
our economy $36 billion.
Wow.
And so, in order to get supermarkets and the hospitality industry and the food industry on board, we had to have laws changed. And that took lobbying.
hmm
I'm very fortunate that people seem to love what we do. Well, it makes so much sense when you go
Right.
to someone and say, do you care if good food goes to waste or should it rather feed people? There's one answer.
Yeah.
And so I got a lot of fabulous pro bono lawyers on board. They lobbied government. And in 2005, we had the Civil Liabilities Amendment Act
Oh,
passed, which enabled good food to be given away for free rather than going to waste
right.
without liability to the donor. And that we had that law passed in, we have 7 states. It escalated into all our different states.
It's so great. It's so great. And yeah, thank you for sort of leading the way for the rest of the world on this because I think we've all sort of followed in your lead. Um, I want to talk a little bit about, valuing food because I think that is still something that is not something most eaters, consider. Even with high food prices across the world, people tend to think of food and then ultimately farmers as sort of something to, that it should be inexpensive, it should be easy to dispose of, et cetera. And I'm wondering if you can talk about sort of the consciousness building that needs to happen to value both food and farmers.
Look, that is absolutely core to our challenge. Our food system is broken, and the value around understanding what it costs to grow food is completely inexplicable because when you throw away an apple, you are not just throwing away one little element. It takes food, water, energy, fuel, love,
Right,
care, time to grow that apple. The fact that we might buy it for 60 cents or 75 cents or even $1, because as you say, the prices have gone up. The value of that product is way more. And so we do need, and part of our thinking and campaigns are around the value of food so that people start appreciating what it takes to grow food and that actually that's where I say that our food system is broken
yeah.
because we do want cheap food. And how can you have cheap food when the process is so complex? And we have forgotten how to value our farmers
Hmm.
and the effort it takes to grow food. So we have multiple consumer and youth and children education
Hmm.
programs
Hmm.
because um, because if you can embed this in young people, perhaps we'll start shifting and changing the narrative that cheap food is good, whereas in fact, we also know that the nutritional content of our food today is completely different to what the nutritional content of the food was when I grew up. You're much younger than me.
Sure.
So you still, though, had better quality produce because the more we put pesticides in, the more we don't look after our soil, the more we just produce mass that sits in cool rooms for a year before it
Right,
comes out onto our shelves. It's not only the taste, it's what that food gives us. And
right.
so we have health issues that we didn't have before. All of this is connected to our broken food system. And so our school programs, we've got a school program called Feast that
Uh-huh.
is curriculum accredited, so it fits into the school program. And that is a train the trainer model to
Mm.
teach how to deliver a term's worth of sustainability, nutrition, how to cook, but how to look after our produce and creating little eco activists and climate
Warriors, yeah.
sustainability and climate warriors. Exactly.
That's amazing. And it's so important to instill that early on because it's much harder to learn as an adult all of these sort of practices. But if you grow up with them, you're just really changing the game.
Exactly. And the truth is, as adults, we want convenience, which is also why food goes to waste.
Right,
We want to walk into a supermarket at 7 in the morning and at midnight and have the exact same choice.
right,
If you
right,
think about those beautiful cultures where there are little farmers markets, if you walk into a French farmers market, by 11 o'clock, the baguettes are gone. If you didn't get there early, you lost out.
right, right,
Whereas, just taking bread, which is the most wasted product, it's not cheap to grow wheat.
right.
It's so expensive to grow wheat, and yet bread is a staple, and bread is the most wasted product.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
planet, when you think about, and of course, hunger and food insecurity are very different in a first world country to third world or to, on different continents,
sure.
but is a huge issue.
Absolutely. You mentioned, dignity and respect before, and often I hear from food recovery organizations in the United States that there can be sort of a shift that needs to happen because people don't want something that would otherwise be wasted. They don't want to eat food waste. And so how does that work with Oz Harvest? How do you sort of change that sort of stereotype?
So that is the essence, I think, of who we are and what we do. So, for example, we have free supermarkets. We have two free supermarkets, one in Adelaide, where you will be visiting, and one in Sydney. And everything we do, first of all, the produce, other than a few freckles, if we started discarding ourselves because of our freckles, our blemishes,
Right, I'd be gone.
there would be none of us. So it has been about um, education. We have a huge campaign around Use It Up, that the food and the produce is perfectly good for consumption. And that really, we have a restaurant where we serve free meals every day. But again, the restaurant looks like a five-star. It's
Uh,
exquisite,
it's great.
beautiful. We serve a three-course meal on wonderful cutlery with silver, with linen. All of the produce is 99% of the produce is rescued. And our restaurant is in alignment with Food for Soul. I'm not sure if you're familiar with
Right,
Massimo
right.
Bottura.
Yeah.
So it is a refectorio. But it's the same with our supermarkets, and it's the same with our education programs. We have a program that works with about 600 corporates a year. We have a team building. We have the biggest cooking school in Australia.
Oh,
And
amazing.
the difference with our cooking school is we utilize surplus produce. So we are teaching people, look, what is wrong with this carrot?
Right.
Might be a bit wonky. What is wrong with this red pepper or garbanzo or whatever? Because, and so we are embedding education. We're teaching people to cook. That particular course, which is a team building for corporates, leaves people cook. They only get to taste a tiny little bit, then that food gets packed up in lovely containers with
Right.
beautiful messages on it. So everything we do is about dignity and respect,
That's
because we
fantastic.
need dignity and respect for humans, but dignity and respect for the produce.
Right, right. And so much more of that is needed. Ronnie, I'm wondering if we can shift gears a little bit because Oz Harvest, you've learned so much, you've evolved so much, and one of the things that you've done is create Oz Harvest Ventures, which is using the power of the private sector to develop innovative food waste solutions. And I think this can be such an important model for other food rescue and anti-food waste organizations to follow.
Well, it's a social for purpose, for profit business. And we literally, our whole intention is how can we repurpose in the circular economy concept produce that would otherwise go to waste. So we currently have a little range of products. We have a beautiful drink I will send you some pictures. You will get to taste it.
Oh, wonderful.
Called Conscious Drink, and we've called it Conscious Drink because we wanted to create a new category. It's about awareness. 1.5 million kilos of blueberries go to waste in our country. And so we have taken blueberries and together with indigenous aromatics. Now, indigenous botanicals and indigenous products here have been completely pillaged by
Mm,
corporates with no acknowledgement of indigenous wisdom growth. So, for example, our drink, which is we have crossed out the word non-alcoholic because it's a premium drink. It
mhm.
is does not contain alcohol, but it's considered a beautiful drink to have with meals, like a wine would. And we're in partnership with an indigenous business. So half the products, half the profit goes to them. The rest means we can deliver more meals to more people because the profit from OzHarvest Ventures, it exists to provide finance to OzHarvest to over the time potentially overtake philanthropy because
Sure.
running an organization, a big multi-million-dollar organization only on philanthropy, which is how we currently are funded,
Yeah.
we needed other sources of revenue. So we have a chili oil used from surplus chili. We have lemonade spelt AID, made from ugly lemons. We have jams, beautiful jams, which you call jellies, I think,
Hmm. Hmm.
made from surplus apples, surplus berries, surplus strawberries. And that range is about to go into store. And we believe that there is a consciousness and an awareness that people are starting to make choices around what is good for people and planet. And
That's
that's the genesis of those products.
Yeah, again, such a good example for other organizations to follow. One of the things that I appreciate about you and Oz Harvest the most is just the creativity. Everything you've done since, 21 years ago, just really to think outside of the box. And your title, you're founder, but you're also visionary in residence. And can you talk about why that's important for you to sort of put out in the world that that's who you are?
So innovation is in our DNA. Like I said, the word so entrepreneur, I never thought of myself as an entrepreneur. But clearly what I care about most is innovation, creating and recreating and redesigning. And that's really what we've done with OzHarvest, not on purpose, but
Right.
because there's always more to do. And I don't like the word no, and I don't like the word can't. And so we keep rolling out new products. Visionary is for me really my intention was to start OzHarvest and just solve a problem. And clearly, all I really did was highlight a problem.
Mm,
And I guess the visionary part of where I'm at today is I am committed to ending hunger. Ending food insecurity is not ending hunger. So I love
right,
that we feed people. I love that we bring dignity to the notion of how people can get support, but it's not solving the problem.
right.
And so when I stepped aside from CEO role last year, obviously the organization realized, if a founder doesn't die and they're still around, you want to tap into into them. So I've always thought I was the visionary in residence, but now that is my title. And I love the capacity and ability. And like I say, my new project is a hunger solutions lab. Whilst different pockets and bodies are looking at what it is and what it'll take to end hunger, there is no overarching platform that will research, look at the theory of change, use systems change. We really have to redesign
Yeah.
our society. And so, quite honestly, some people think I'm completely mad. and they probably always have, and that's okay. But I have set a goal that we do need to end hunger because we've created it, so we can uncreate it.
Ah, so well said. So well said, Ronnie. That's one of the many reasons I admire you. I again am so appreciative of this partnership and this collaboration that we're going to have in Adelaide. Do you want to talk a little bit
Sure.
about our event and why we're doing this?
Well, first of all, I love that you reached out to us because, like I say, it's been a long time coming, us working together. So, the Adelaide Fringe Festival, I think, is probably the second biggest fringe festival in the world after Edinburgh. And it really highlights interesting, quirky, and important messages through the program. So the work that you've done to create this beautiful Voices of Farmers, a love story, and you've rolled it out, from COPs to Edinburgh Food Festival to South by Southwest. When your people reached out to us to say that you were looking at holding this on the opening night of the Fringe, it was just a no-brainer for us to say, well, phenomenal. We can support getting farmers, we can support getting produce, we can support every aspect of the event. We will be curating and passing food round that's been made by the farmers. So the concept of this love story to farmers, the voices of farmers, in every one of our continents, in our culture today, we have to elevate the voices of farmers, but not just those mass, not only not just, we need to highlight the regenerative, the farmers that are trying to produce produce that is both healthy, nutritional, and at its source, good for the planet and good for us. So it was just the most perfect alignment for us to say, we're in, how can we support? And we're very excited to bring this event to the Fringe Festival because we think that it will have a beautiful impact.
Absolutely. Thank you again. And we'll be in Adelaide on February 20th with this event. And so excited, folks can check out our website for more information. Ronnie, I want to end on what advice you would give both organizations that are trying to do what OzHarvest, sort of, laid out the map for, and what you would, so advice for organizations and then advice for eaters, because we're all sort of struggling right now. We mentioned high food prices before. We want to, be able to eat well and, save money. What advice would you give for those two sort of, groups?
Yeah. So to the organizations, I would say, first of all, and to all of us, I say resilience and persistence are
Mm,
hugely important.
hmm
The organizations, I would say, look to, uh, you know, I want us harvest to be remarkable every single day, to do the unexpected, to continue to innovate. And what I say, and to ultimately find a solution to our problem. I would say to every organization, look, dig deep into your values, into why you exist, and and check out the scale of the problem and how you can just start tackling, even if it's a tiny bit from a different angle. Start understanding what that lived experience is like and how you can shift and change it tiny little bits at a time. And to individuals who want to eat well, so I know that organic produce is more expensive to buy the better quality, but I find I value it more. It lasts longer.
mm,
And so I'm treating it with a different respect.
sure.
So instead of buying two lettuces for the price of one, because that sounds like a bargain, I'd rather buy one better and utilize it, because when we buy two for the price of one, we generally find one lettuce going green and sludgy at the back of our fridge.
Yeah.
So instead of, it's really starting to buy what we need, use a shopping list, literally. It saves you money. Cook what you've bought and freeze. Use the freezer as a pause button. And food waste is costing the average household somewhere between $1,500 and $3,000 a year.
Gosh,
Now,
yeah.
who wouldn't want that money back in their pockets? So we have to be mindful, and the best way is to look, check what's in your pantry before you go shopping. Buy what you need, use it up. And we have this beautiful product that we've rolled out. It's now in about 200,000 households.
Oh,
It's
nice.
it's a visual reminder. It's called Use It Up tape. It's a tape that goes into your fridge. You stick it on a shelf in your fridge. It says, use me, eat me, pick me. Um, and the households that use it, it's an education and a visual reminder.
Right.
Plus that we know that they have halved their food waste. So
Incredible.
it's possible you can make your own on sticky tape. What we did was we used, it's a unique and world first because it uses a paper that is biodegradable. It uses
Nice.
glue that is not poisonous,
Sure.
and it's available on our website for free. We ask that people pay for postage,
Sure.
but it is a very useful tool. And so it's that notion of making us aware of using up our leftovers.
That's amazing. That's amazing, Ronnie. Such a pleasure to talk to you. I can't tell you how excited I am to see you in person, give you a big hug. Thank you
Love it.
again for partnering with us. Where can people find out more information about OzHarvest and hopefully donate?
So on our website is just ozharvest.org, O-R-G, and every single dollar that is donated to us allows us to deliver at least 2 meals to someone in need. So we are so excited. I'm thrilled to be with you. And I want to make sure that I can also use this podcast to elevate onto our channel. So when we're done, let's our people talk to each other so
That
that
sounds good. That
we
sounds
can
good.
make sure.
Thank you so much, Ronnie. I'll see you soon.
Looking forward to a hug and thank you so much, Dani. Love what you do and thank you so much for reaching out and partnering with us.
Such an honor, Ronnie. Thank you again.
Beautiful.